picks definitely change up because Varus should be almost gone right now. Hearing a lot of whispers that Varus and Jhin really not being played anymore because DFT is obviously nerfed. We need to see how heavy is the surge? Like, is the Lucian actually going to come back? Because when you speak to different AD carries, some of them go from, yeah, Lucian major lane bully to you still get punished too hard by certain mages. So we'll have to see where the priority lies. But I think we'll definitely see a lot of Ezreal. We'll see a bit of Caitlyn and Ashe for sure. Okay, and of course, we were talking earlier today, Sven being very outspoken about Kalista. If the players are capable, right? That's one of the big caveats.
If you have Korean mechanics, you can definitely consider playing Kalista, and if you have good synergy with your support and a Lucian. But I think if you are struggling a bit more, the likes of an Ashe, a safe Ezreal pick, have a lot more value right now.
And of course, Ashe is now banned away, Krepo. Origen denying that one to Steelback.
Yeah, and then definitely, it's also just a pick you don't want to first pick early, but you don't want to give away on the safety. She's kind of the new Varus in the sense that she pokes very well in lane. She has a very safe laning phase. You see a Lulu ban here, and for people that haven't really been keeping up, she has been on the rise, especially in high elo, pretty much perma-locked. In solo queue, it's the Lulu Kog'Maw, because in the nature of kind of the ARAM-esque gameplay, that obviously shines through. In competitive, it's just a Lulu altogether.
Hey, ARAM-esque gameplay, Vitality, a team that like to group up and push A lane.
Yeah, eventually.
Eventually, if they get to that point. Taking a look at the bans, Vitality mixing this up a little bit. It's Rengar, Talon, and Shin. So the Rengar, no surprise, but Talon and Shin, much more targeted.
Yeah, the Talon definitely targeted at NaeHyun here, because he plays a fair amount of that in solo queue as well. It's a really mobile pick. It can break open some of these kind of lower ranked games, because not everybody's communication is on point. This guy can jump literally every wall. He can parkour into the bot lane, create havoc in these less sustained lanes as well, because with Warlords being tweaked, people are not going like around 100% HP all the time. You can eventually get outpoked in lane right now because Fervor is back and it's a lot more swingy matchups.
All right, so we're seeing some big departures here on red side first rotation. Gragas, Vladimir. And of course that Gragas could go jungle, could go top. We have seen it in both roles. Do you think 7.5 will lock it into one role more than the other?
Ooh, it's hard to tell. I think if you're like Spice, for example, that Gragas will go into jungle more. I think if you're Vitality, I could see the Gragas top a bit more. It's hard to tell because Djoko never had the real conventional jungle pool. For the Vladimir, though, I'm quite surprised to see it come in this early. It is technically a flex, top and mid as well. But it's quite surprising to see it this high on the list, especially now that there's multiple options still left in the mid lane. The Malzahar, however, is not a surprise. Super strong support still. It kind of shifted from a damage all-in bot to just a suppression bot that then builds redemption.
Suppression bot with initiation, right?
Yeah, that's what you want.
For a team that maybe struggles with some of that. Origen may have locked in their ADC Ziggs, correction they have, because Jayce will likely be in NaeHyun's hands in the mid lane. And Tahm Kench, the reply from Hachani. So hey, face check, he's got the ability to have someone with him for backup, and he's got great health in case he needs to try to get out.
He can even involuntarily bring somebody with him to face check. It's like, I'm gonna face check this brush. No, don't. Ha, too bad, bro. I'm eating you. You're coming with me if you want to or not. Probably not the best approach for Hachani. It is obviously the preferred lane pick into the Malzahar.
So let's find out whether or not Hachani is going to make it work and how proficient xpeke is going to be in this duo setup. Of course, we're now into ban phase 2. And we're going to look at Rumble and Varus. Varus, the poke champion, is gone. But for Origen with Ziggs and Malzahar against the low-range Tahm Kench, going to make his life difficult.
You hit the nail on the head right there, Trevor. It's already a poke comp in the making. The Ziggs in the bot lane, the Jayce in the mid lane, that is what they want to do. Obviously, targeted engage helps once these targets go low. You can't underrate the Malzahar Q either when you're poking, because silence for 2 seconds late game is essentially hard to see in these scenarios where you can't have them fire back. So we need to see what Vitality do in terms of answers. If they draft more flank engage, like this Gragas Vladimir, you know, imagine if one of them come from each side, it could be a nice answer.
Yeah, it could be a nice answer, and that's assuming the communication and the setup is there for Vitality. That's what we're going to be judging, I suppose. Ban phase 2, Renekton and Rumble. So Cabochard setting himself up potentially for a more comfortable matchup. Djoko has played 3 Gragas games in the past. And Steelback, no Ashe, no Varus, likely no Jhin. Or do you think he could fall back to it from comfort?
I think he'll end up playing Ezreal, looking at this lane. He actually goes for the Jhin. That's quite surprising. With the nerfs, he needs to be very careful in the lane that he doesn't get poked out endlessly. Because that's going to be a lot harder for him to play, because Malzahar Ziggs against this lane is going to push all day. And he'll end up playing in the mid lane later on, and this Jhin actually doesn't have that much wave clear. So if you're looking at Vitality, who are pretty much drafting 1-3-1 again, knowing that last week that is exactly how they failed, we need to see if Hachani is stepping in to kind of shore up some of the shot calling weaknesses.
I want to expand on what you just said, Krepo. No wave clear. I'm looking at Origen and I see wave clear for days. especially if this Graves gets locked in. Vitality, on the other hand, well, they can't afford to be pushed in over and over.
They have the Exodia wave
tools.
clear. When they group up with their powers combined, they can clear a single wave, and then they're worrying. Need to see where this Vladimir ends up going, because the Gragas can still flex to jungle with Vladimir top. It was almost an indicator when they banned out like Renekton and Rumble, two really early strong laners that could punish a Vladimir top, but it does look like it's going to be the expected result here. Vladimir in the mid lane, Gragas top lane, Lee Sin in the jungle. I don't know how I feel about this draft from Vitality. I like it when lower ranked teams have more of a purpose and a goal in their draft, and for Origen it is ultra simple. It is a composition that wants to poke and siege. You have a fatty tank in the top lane, put your guy on Nautilus, bring him in, have him peel. Like, they have a little bit of mix of damage, AD and AP well spread, so I think Origen's comp is a lot easier to play.
This is a trend that is becoming more and more common as the weeks are now rolling on here in spring. For Vitality's comp, Cabochard, this is the first time he'll be playing Gragas this split in the top lane. And Djoko, man, the pressure's going to be on this kid because that Lee Sin can make or break these Vladimir, Gragas, or Jhin lanes.
Yeah, definitely. He can influence those lanes, but even then, like, yeah, he ganks Nautilus, he dies. Then what? Guy's still a tank, right?
Yeah.
He joins the team. It's not like if you gank Nautilus once or twice, he's suddenly unable to press R in this team comp. I think we need to look at NaeHyun, and if he can pop off on this Jayce. This is obviously a similar comp that Origen ran last week with some success. Need to see if their shot calling works, and if they can really find scenarios on the map where they really group that Ziggs and the Jayce together. That is the fault of many teams that have ran this comp before. For some reason, they split up the two poke siege champions because they want to get farm, but the goal is obviously to get the turrets.
All right, get the turrets, use the siege to push Vitality away. Vitality have no wave clear. Let's find out how well Origen can do it. Just before the team comp flew up onto your screen, we caught a glimpse of Cinkroff, the new jungler for Origen, coming up from the LVP. We'll talk a little bit about him in a moment or two. You guys on Twitter, will Origen or Vitality come on top? We're loading into game number 1. It is Group B, number 4 versus number 5. And Krepo, there is a 2-series difference between these teams. Vitality with 2 wins, Origen with 0 wins. If Vitality win this series, and 1 more, or if Origen lose 1 more, that's it. Vitality are safe, they come back in summer. Origen 100% locked in the promotion tournaments.
Yeah, this is a very important game for Origen. Also, just for the head-to-head seeding, the 2 last teams, you know, basically the teams that end up last in each group, you still want to be better than the other guy.
Yeah.
As best as you can, because that affects who gets to play the strongest, or who gets to pick the team for the Challenger Series.
Choose your opponents. The Challenger playoffs start this Sunday, and we'll find out who will be joining into there. But as a reminder, it is patch 7.5. This is the first time that I'm having the pleasure of casting patch 7.5 with you. I'm looking down the summoner spells, and I still see 1 exhaust on xpeke.
Yeah. Exhaust has been changed a little bit, so it no longer reduces, you know, the armor and the MR. So it's, as an offensive tool, it's slightly worse. It no longer reduces attack speed. So in bot lane, it gives a lot more fluent gameplay when you're playing against an exhaust. No longer do you have the scenario where you flash, send out your auto, cancel it yourself, and take the walk of shame. But it is still good against burst mages. So a well-timed exhaust can still shut down a Vladimir, for example. And if you're playing a push lane like Malzahar Ziggs, you kind of don't want to destroy that. Like, you want to destroy the tower, you don't want to destroy your enemies, right? Like, you just want to be safe in case you get ganked. So exhaust does make sense there. Okay,
so let's find out how well Tabzz and Peke can use their matchup. Taking a look at some of the junglers. Cinkroff's a guy we want to watch him, like how he tracks and how he plays this early game, especially because he's on arguably one of the stronger junglers right now in Graves.
Yeah, and he's doing a suboptimal path here as well, starting blue to Gromp. It's less beneficial XP-wise compared to the Raptor start, but it has him ending up in the bot lane later for the combined group sieging in this low kind of wave clear bot lane.
And take a look at this jungle invade from Hachani, nice and early. Gets a ward down onto that red buff. Information for Vitality to work with.
Yeah, this is something he did very early in the season. The first 2 weeks, Hachani was constantly doing this as well, if I recall correctly. It basically gives away the jungle path, and it also tells him, yeah, this Graves is definitely pathing towards the bot side. We need to be careful because we can get kind of ganked and then group sieged on.
You can see once again Hachani leaving. We need to see how much information Hachani can glean with some of these roams and movements, and also if Origen can punish him, right? Because this is, you know, we hate to sort of harp on and rehash the same story, but Hachani is a player who has been caught. by teams who are able to read it and punish his movements. It takes two to tango.
Yeah, it takes two to tango, and the dance floor is open here for Djoko right now because he sees Cinkroff. In his first game, Cinkroff has to deal with a red invade here. He gets queued, follow-up from Djoko.
Oh, Djoko, so much damage from their resonating strike. A decent smite from Cinkroff gives him the HP, and he's able to just walk away.
He can continue jungling because his jungler comes to peel here, so this is not a coordinated invade. The ward was placed by Hachani, but he was dealing with the wave at the same time. So the move in wasn't at the right time. I don't know if Djoko actually had smite up for that engage or not, but props to Cinkroff. Not panic flashing. He even smote his own buff, and he escaped with his life without using a summoner. So that is a really good starter here for this guy, because he must be nervous.
I mean, he has to be. And let's talk about Cinkroff just a little bit. He's played on two different teams over in the LVP. The first team, the G-Lab Penguins. That was his debut.
Yeah, sometimes I wish I didn't retire, so I could just like play one more season on the Penguins.
I mean, look, this is where he made a name for himself, right? He showed up. I spoke to the LVP casters and played a lot of sort of meta champions. Back then, some tanky frontliners. Because of how well Cinkroff played in Season 11 of LVP, he then moved to Baskonia, which is where Origen have picked him up from. And Baskonia was so good, they were winning everything.
Yeah.
And the question that the LVP casters had for Cinkroff is that because Cinkroff was a big impactor, or because his laners were just so strong in the league? And that's what we're going to find out this game, and whether or not he can help out arguably weaker laners, and you can debate that a little bit,
Weaker
right?
laners, let's see how strong the junglers are versus each other. Djoko did not spot that ward being placed here. Cinkroff with the AoE has a really good invade on the small raptors. They give quite a bit of experience. Now it's smite off. Both smites are available. Let's see who wins. It is Cinkroff again.
Okay, good smiting. No panic, and I like some of the energy there, Krepo. Play-by-play practice last week, eh? Yeah. Paying off.
Analyzed the vision for me in the enemy jungler. Go back to your color roots.
I don't think anybody would want that one, so I'll stick with what I'm a little bit more comfortable with.
Fine, I'll do it then. Look at the deep wards that this guy placed. He not only did he invade, he popped kind of the scrying plant, then he left 2 wards from his trackers, I believe, that was full, and a pink ward here. This is extremely good vision control from Cinkroff. He then proceeded to not go to Krugs, because he saw that Raptor spawned, contested Djoko, and Djoko has been kind of the crux for Vitality. Whenever Djoko was doing well in the early game, he was participating in the first spots, and that was one of the reasons Vitality got very often some early game leads. Now being put down by Cinkroff, is it going to help Origen a lot?
It will indeed, and Cinkroff needs to try convert some of these advantages he's accrued into the lanes. And you've already mentioned it once or twice, Mitch, how Cinkroff can move to a lane and shove it in.
Yeah.
Use some of that AoE from Graves, use some of the wave clear, and try to push this Vladimir, this Jhin, this Tahm Kench, or even Gragas back to their towers.
Yeah, and that may happen now because Ziggs obviously early game can't contest waves once he's being pushed in. But with the Lost Chapter, that kind of changes. It becomes a lot easier for the Ziggs Malzahar lane to play pressure game and go even on CS. But we have to mention that Steelback and Hachani so far have done well for themselves. They're up about 12 CS.
Yeah, 12 CS is giving them a small advantage in this bottom lane. Gold-wise, I'm looking at the rest of the lanes. It's pretty much even. We've talked so much about this bottom half of the map and really the junglers, but Satorius and Cabochard now access to their ultimates very soon.
It is top lane week after all.
It is top lane week. It is our themed week.
Let's look at that top lane. Hang on.
Hold that thought. I think we're going to look mid lane first. NaeHyun takes a lot of damage. Nukeduck, not enough to kill him. But NaeHyun holds onto his flash.
That's not very exciting for me. I really want to see these 2 tanks whack each other and just farm, because that is like the pinnacle of top lane right there.
We have to wait for them to get close though. Because look, Cabochard went to place, he didn't even place the ward, he just went to check. Holding onto that trinket.
Isn't this what makes you want to become a top laner?
It does. I mean, I'm inspired, you know. Frontline play, game-changing plays, defensive flash from NaeHyun, anticipating Nukeduck to go in.
When you're reading the minds a level 2 deep. He obviously was looking for a caps play right there, where you channel the E flash in EQ and get him and make him waste their flash. I like the respect flash. I think it's okay. I think we can definitely defend that from NaeHyun.
Well, NaeHyun's going to try to defend it for NaeHyun.
Yeah, of course, he's going to be the right play. It was the right play, I think.
And we'll find out what Hachani's up to. He's sneaking into the bottom quadrant of the jungle, and if I'm looking at the minimap, 1, 2, 3, sort of 4 wards inside Origen's jungle. Not entirely Hachani alone, but he's got some support, and as a team, Vitality are moving into this area.
But look at his movement. This guy, like, this is the brushes where he always died in the past. Once they're warded up, he also constantly defends the vision. Like, Hachani, as much as people mocked him, is still a Korean support player, and they prioritize deep vision so much more. When you saw the first change to trinkets,
we saw Mata kind of abuse the system. It's like, why would I place this in my lane? This is useless. I'm just going to walk to the enemy jungle, place it in his camps, and find out exactly what he's doing. And this is a similar, or in a similar vein that Hachani is doing. And they're also really leveraging the strength of this Ignite to kind of threaten the all-in on xpeke and Tabzz, who are rather inexperienced as a duo still. And the pressure is basically making it so that Steelback gets that CS advantage.
Yeah, taking on, this is about the 3rd week for Tabzz and Peke. And Krepo, you mentioned when we were talking about the rosters how xpeke not replacing himself in the same week as replacing Wisdom is probably a smart call. Keep some of that leadership, keep some of that calling in game, and less variable changes means Origen might have a more stable performance.
Yeah, I was looking at the map, I was like, Hachani, he may use Abyssal Voyage mid. Then I realized he was level 4.
See, this the play-by-play curse. You get excited about what's on screen.
I want some action. No, I think it's wise to keep your more experienced members in, because they will definitely not face check like Hachani here in this match, for example. xpeke would never do that.
No, xpeke is not really his thing. Gonna get devoured by Hachani in first blood. Easy peasy.
Pekka right there, do unto them as you would like them to do unto you. Pekka face checks Hachani. The tides have turned. Hachani has absorbed his failures, now absorbed xpeke.
Quite literally, actually. NaeHyun's gonna find Djoko, though. An easy kill, picks up double buffs. Sorry, red buff, rather. And this is just a comedy of errors here for Origen.
Yeah, but no, that was yeah, and Vital somebody in that brush. So in xpeke's mind, he's thinking, well, the cumulative benefit, hang on, Nukeduck.
Oh, NaeHyun's locked down. Nukeduck's got the Hemo plague out. The burst comes through, and it's Djoko with revenge.
All right, done with that story. Nice run from Vitality. That's constantly what they've been doing, though. That's how you beat a weaker bot lane. You don't stay in the lane and you try and kill them. You just push up and roam. Always pressure the enemy mid laner, especially when you're playing Jhin. I really like that Vitality's working together.
Should Tabzz have xpeke known that, though?
Of course.
Because Hachani has been roaming the whole time, and for xpeke to face check his own bush earlier, and now NaeHyun to get a little bit caught out, communication Origen showing some jitters.
Yeah, some weakness. I mean, you call that miss. And then NaeHyun has to back off. When your bot lane, when you're playing versus a Tahm Kench and a Jhin, you need to back the hell off, especially versus a Lee Sin as well. You got to lean left. And you can't play that far up with your flash down, because now you just lost your double buffs.
Yeah, no more double buffs. That went back to Djoko. He actually picked it back up. It was red that he resecured. Yep. Vitality have got a little over 1,000 gold lead. And it's just all about this bottom half of the map. Mid and jungle and Cinkroff. Look, he did okay against Djoko in the one-on-ones, but now Djoko has helped set up a few more plays.
Yeah, but I don't think Cinkroff's to blame at all. Yep. I think he did exactly what he's required to do. Satorius as well. This guy's playing on an island on the top lane. Small corner jungle on the Raptors. I think the problem lies if you draft Ziggs Malzahar and you've never pushed over the midpoint of your lane and you're not communicating your misses well enough, then that problem is where Origen is suffering from right now.
And theoretically, this is where Tabzz and Pekka can start pushing. Morellonomicon, I mean, lost chapters when Tabzz should have started doing it.
Yeah, they should have been pushing a long time ago. If not, just call your jungler. Just group it in the lane, push together. Once you got them locked under the turret, that's all you got to do.
Give me a timing window with Origen's team composition of when they should start maybe grouping and start pushing back this low wave clear Vitality. Is it now? Is it later?
2 minutes ago?
That's what I was to find out.
Just play it out in your head, right? Like, what would they do if you just send his Graves in lane? It's not like Lee Sin can just magically appear. You can still lock him down with suppression, and you have peel from Ziggs. Because right now, they're so scared of this poke. Like, let's follow them. Like, Steelback gets priority here every time. By the time xpeke walks up to the wave with Tabzz, half of the enemy wave is gone already. Like, that is the problem right here. You need to kind of shoo off Steelback, tell them, no, my wave, get away from it.
Let's see if Cinkroff can shoo him away.
They're operating in a gank mindset right now, but that's not what you want. You just want to solidify the push, and then when they approach you, you just poke them every time they approach the wave. You punish them for trying to CS.
Well, Origen are committing to this gank idea, Krepo. Hachani's the target. He can't devour himself, but he does get insta-gibbed.
Yeah, pop goes the Weasel. No exhaust right there. It's that easy if you lose that combo. Could have done that quite a bit earlier. Now they need to block the bullets real quick.
Well, nobody wants to block the bullets. Wave is going to get cleared out, and the tower just takes a little bit of chip damage. But look, some kudos to Tabzz and xpeke here.
Nope.
They find a kill, and this may even open up Dragon if Origen commit to it. No, it's just vision.
It's not what they want, though. They really want to get tier 1 turrets down right there. So I'm quite surprised nobody decided to like take 1 or 2 bullets, a couple extra hits. they can just siege right now. They can group up, especially now they spotted Lee Sin in the topside river. So NaeHyun needs to be careful, and they can just group up and siege his bot lane turret as 3 if they want.
All right, is NaeHyun going to be careful? Djoko and Satorius almost walking into one another. We come to the mid lane. Sanguine Pool buys some time for Nukeduck, because here comes Hachani, flashes away from the dredge line. I think that saved his life. And in the mid lane...
Yeah, group up. This is good from Origen. They move over Tabzz, who had the push in the bot lane. This is exactly what their comp wants to do.
And let's find out how Vitality defend. Djoko's got the kick available to him and a flash. Ward hops over, looking for Satorius. Flashes to safety.
Has to flash out, because Vitality right now, they're in 1-3-1 formation, and they lose very heavily versus a 5v3 push in the mid lane. You see just how quickly those turrets disappears. That's what happens when you move out of a gank mindset and you actually move into a pressure mindset. You play for the objectives, you play for the goals. Satorius still has teleport. They could easily
not
mimic
again,
this.
not again. No, Hachani, it's your first game back on stage. He finds Tabzz in xpeke, pops the grey health, survives for a few more seconds, and the shield keeps him up. That is growth.
Nobody tries to kill Hachani for the 45th time. He will live. Well, 46th by now.
Oh, that actually would have been so funny if he died,
Yeah.
but he manages to survive. Djoko with the safeguard.
Nope, not a single fish tick will kill him today. He will just walk up in lane and die instead.
So Krepo, Tahm first blood goes
Yep.
to Origen. They've figured out how their team comp works in terms of
Djoko.
grouping and sieging.
Look at sexy flank right here. Is he gonna kick Tabzz in the face?
It has to be. Peke's got his passive up for now, defensive flash, and Djoko should be happy with that one.
All right, I like the... I was gonna say like Peke not opting to waste his ultimate, but he was kind of out of mana.
Yeah.
Outplayed by force.
Not a lot of tools to work with.
No.
Origen do have a lot of wards in their inventory. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 control wards, even more now.
Ooh.
Let's judge and evaluate what they do with them.
Damn, xpeke. The triple control ward, that's when you really want some vision in your jungle. You're losing your turret though. They could have switched it up. They're looking to catch this wave in the bottom. I'm not sure if this is proactive enough. I guess if they can bounce this wave fast enough to go for enemy tier 1, they really need to make something happen.
Well, let's find out what they decide to do. Origen still combating vision in their own jungle. It's like 15 minutes in, and Vitality have had significantly deeper vision.
Yeah.
But now is where Origen want to like group up and push, right? They've got no mid tower to deal with. Obviously, Djoko stood on top of that invisible ward, and looking at the minimap, Peke starting to litter the jungle.
Alright, Peke, get out of there. What are you going to do if you find somebody? Nothing, because then they'll be supporting you. Just start playing for turrets. Rotate bot. That's what you want to do here. I'm looking for a pick.
Krepo, they just want to prove you wrong. They'll find Djoko in the jungle.
Yeah, but what does it accomplish is what I wonder. Like, your waves are getting shut out. Unless they can get mid tier 2 here, then it's okay. But they need to force right now. I guess if Vitality don't come to defend, it's okay. Need to look at the waves.
A wave in the bottom is handled by Cabo.
Yeah.
Wave in the top is handled by Steelback. And NaeHyun's going to start a fight. There's no armor for Cabochard. So NaeHyun to the skies with the hammer.
Vitality, can you at least try and defend? Like, do something.
And they get the tower. They get the tower, Krepo.
Steelback's taking a stroll. He's like, guys, I pushed out top. No, he should have been mid right there. Like, this is... All right, was the right play?
It was.
Peke was right.
Peke made it work. Let's say Peke made it work. Let's use that terminology.
No, I think actually in hindsight it was an okay play to make. I would have just loved to see these plays only work if the enemy buys into them. I'd rather see them go for the plays that will work regardless of what happens and give you either like a turret or a turret and a kill. You know, they could rotate bot right there for a group siege. Maybe make a pick under a turret right there and just try and burst the tank out. All these are options.
There's so many options. Djoko's looking for one now.
Yeah.
Starting to group up with Vitality in the top lane. And if you look at the minimap, a little bit of support coming up for Origen, but it's going to be potentially too late here.
I think they're in time. The Riptide's doing a lot of work here. Storage just needs to keep them busy here. The collapse would be good from xpeke here. No ultimate still.
No.
About 20 seconds, but they hold.
Yeah, the grasp wasn't available. And Krepo, let's turn on Vitality's vision. Let's just see what Vitality can see. So disable Origen if you can for me, observers. And what I'd like you to talk to me about is like, what is Vitality seeing? They've got 2 champions in the top lane.
Yeah, they pretty much have to guess the lane that Origen wants to siege and then combat them. But the strength of their composition is like Hachani delivering Djoko somewhere and making a pick. The problem is they're kind of robbed of all their deep vision. So right now, Cabo is kind of searching how far can I push this lane. Is there's 1 guy defending, 2 guys defending. That's why he's moving to the jungle. He probably should place like 1 ward pretty deeply. Yeah, that control ward is really good for him. It's like he's building the foundation. Like now he's scouting bottom side jungle and he's flanking on mid. Meanwhile, topside is passive, and they're considering maybe using the Abyssal Void somewhere, but Vitality, they're so in the dark right now, and that's why their shot calling suffers, because they don't know where to go. Like, any corner that Hachani checks right now alone, somebody could be here. Like, Peke could literally be behind that corner, and he would have died. Or here, over the wall. Like, they warded over. Now Djoko and Hachani are together. But again, right there was a window where they could have gotten punished.
Could have been. There we go.
There he is.
Peke waiting. Fantastic timing, observers, as we jump back to full vision.
And then you see what Origen is doing, right? They're like, okay, these guys are clueless, they have no vision, make a face tech. And then like, you're trying to hide. But right now, the Abyssal Void comes in.
All right, Abyssal Void trying to catch out Cinkroff. He gets licked by Hachani's tongue, and there's no further follow-up. Just the Abyssal Void. Origen, unfortunate to not catch anything, but playing around vision probably pretty well.
Yeah, but they were defending the entrances to their jungle. That's always what you want to do. Don't give away deep vision for free to your opponent. Be there twice, and if you punish them twice, they'll be really scared the third time, and you can use that to maybe cross-map or do something. But at the same time, Origen, they were only in a defensive mindset. They haven't really been able to group and siege on a turret either.
All right, now all of a sudden, Origen, they're looking to be aggressive. The only information they have on the minimap was Gragas.
But you got to count your dots. Whenever you play the map, count your dots and count the enemy dots. Right now, you have 2 of your Kais in base, a third. This is defensive mindset for Origen right there. You can't make any aggressive moves. No deep vision can be placed because you can't answer. You can't get help from your teammates near you, and if you get caught, your teammates can't do anything on the other side of the map because they're in base. That's why it's very important to synchronize bases and predict how much your opponents can take from it.
I haven't tracked whether or not that's happened this game, but we'll keep an eye as the series plays out, Krepo. Finally, Vitality look like they're going to get onto this tower.
Yeah.
HP is going very, very low. It's below 10%.
Djoko and Hachani were working together much better than in the early game. You see Djoko going first, and there's always a Devourer available. That's why Peke did not flash Nether Grasp here. Tabzz looking to maybe blast cone himself over. It's a fight over vision. Vision is the objective right now. This is the cornerstone of the plays here. I think Vitality is happy scaling, somewhat. But the second Origen get any opening, a single pick, they will just group siege, take a turret.
Okay, let's spend a minute or two talking about scaling here. It's 20 minutes in, even game. Both teams not the strongest, mid to late game shot calling, but what do you think of the team compositions and how they progress into the next 10 to 15?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I think Vladimir is a monster in the late game damage-wise, but it depends how much access he can get. I mean, they have like 2 carries. Jhin doesn't scale that well in my opinion, but I don't know. Ziggs has a good 3-item spike. But they can all get murdered by tanks, and that's the problem. Right? Yeah. Doesn't matter how good these champions scale. If Cabochard finds any of these guys with a body slam flash later in the game, like they're done for.
Yeah, you're done zone. Vitality will want to set up one of those plays. Last week, Krepo, Vitality gave up some advantages they shouldn't have. If you look at these 2 gold graphs, it was the 2 games against Rockout, which Vitality lost. Vitality had a 6,000 gold lead in the early game, before 10 minutes. They also had a 7,000 gold lead at 40 minutes, and both of those games they threw away. Inability to close, inability to play 1-3-1. Yeah. There's a multitude of reasons.
Yeah, there's actually another game where they had a 6K early. It's not on this graphic right here. We see Abyssal Void again, so we'll get back to the gold leads later, see if it amounts to anything. Yeah, this is why the defensive posture from Origen is working. They're not really getting anything themselves, but they're never getting caught out by Hachani. Now about Vitality, they just have a habit of like kind of throwing games because their mid to late game shot calling is so poor. Last week especially, they were playing 1-3-1 very heavy, but they could never make it work. Now Cinkroff looking to just flash out and reset.
And manages to escape, maybe a little bit luckily. Hachani's potentially the person that can help fix those problems.
Yeah.
At least that's what Vitality are hoping, bringing him back in.
He's trying, but to find dents in the defense of a team that is playing so far behind the river with Abyssal Void is actually incredibly hard to do. Like, where are you going to go, right? Like, you can look at the map. This guy doesn't have that many options. It's really important that they just get deep vision. So some lane needs to push, group now with the jungler and support, and then you need to do 3-man invades, place some wards in the enemy jungle, and build from there.
All right, so we'll see whether or not Vitality can play around that. I mean, I'm looking at advantages here. Luckily, you said all of the scaling, the damage from Nukeduck, he's significantly further ahead than NaeHyun.
Yeah.
240 to 190.
He can 1v9 late game. It all depends if they shut him down, because like one good silence on him and he's out of the fight. So I think both teams can take it to the late game. Vladimir, I think, scales the best of any champion in the game here. But it's not like Ziggs gets useless with Jayce, especially because there's more of a damage component on his Graves. I think Graves outscales Lee Sin super hard.
And we watched last week, we saw just how valuable Ziggs in the mid to late game can be. Huge damage dealing potential, like objective control and steal potential as well. We go back to our top lane week excitement of Satorius and Cabochard. Krepo, did you know that Cabochard actually picks up a lot of CS between 15 and 30 minutes. On average, 15 more than all the other top laners.
15, eh? It's a nice number of CS to pick up in the mid game. But it actually happens very often. This is why Vitality, it's very indicative of their 1-3-1 style. They're a team that picks up kind of a lot of farm across the map. It's a good metric to track. Does a team play on 2 lanes or 3 lanes very often? And Vitality rank pretty high, which indicates they play on 3 lanes, but they can't close for their life on 3 lanes. That is their problem. Last week they had a massive lead on this cannon split push, and they kept grouping for no reason. They weren't split pushing, they were team fighting. Like, I don't know what they were doing, but they were not playing to their win conditions in 1v1.
And not playing for the objectives. That's the most important thing. Origen gonna find the dragon, potentially ePeke's life. Is gonna have a body block from Cabochard. Cabo saves it. The Hemo Plate might just be enough to take Peke down. He's gonna get the Nether Grasp before being killed. And Nukeduck, he's got himself a double. Not done yet. The Tides of Blood into Satorius, and that's the retreat call for Vitality.
Yeah, really good force from Vitality. They realize if you can get the engage off without eating too much poke before the fight, you're gonna win. That's generally how you play against poke comps. If you catch them on even health, you can go, especially when Tabzz makes the rookie mistake of sending his bomb all the way to Steelback in the back. It will never kill him. It'll put him low, but it doesn't matter. Steelback's never joining this fight, right? So you really want to keep that Ziggs ultimate to peel the front line.
Let's see if he does it later.
Yeah.
You know, learning from that, especially when you think Gragas, Lee Sin, and Vlad diving onto him.
And this is where you're just so expecting. Now, of course, if you're the captain of the team and this guy pays your salaries, then you gotta help him, right? Can't leave no man behind, right? We're team players. Cinkroff gets sucked in. Poor sucker man. First game of the day. Satorius trying to peel, but Vladimir just slides under the door, and then Satorius has to flash.
It almost felt like OG didn't anticipate that rapidity or the quickness of Vitality's engage.
Yeah, Vitality really pulled the trigger. Decisive engagement is really important, especially for bottom tier teams. You can make back calls and you can make them work as long as 5 guys are just going like all in on that call.
Hey, I've heard that before a few times, talking about like teams following calls and pushing one another. Let's see what the call is here. Peke, Cinkroff, Tabzz, looking for a target. There's Nether Grasp a few seconds away. Peke couldn't locking one down.
Yeah,
but Krepo, I've got an interesting number for you. Do you know when?
Is it 15?
This is when bottom 4 teams play one another and Origen is involved. Do you know the average game time is 6 minutes slower than the league-wide average?
That is a complete surprise to me. I would have never guessed that,
I know.
That these teams would give us more gameplay. I feel very blessed in that regard.
So do I. I mean, Origen, their first win of the split, 75 minutes long. It took 5 Barons, and they finally closed it out. And it was because they didn't push many objectives. The bottom outer turret is still standing for Vitality against a Jayce, Ziggs, Graves combination. And Hachani's going to throw himself forward, look for the tongue lash, and also just opportunistic, optimistic plays from Vitality. They're not paying off.
Yeah, and they're not in sync either. Hachani, I think he's almost scared of his history. See Nukeduck do NaeHyun here. You definitely see the scaling on this Vladimir right now. But like, I think he's scared of going too deep with the Abyssal Voyage and basically almost just like giving himself up to the enemy team. It makes it very easy for Origen to disengage. Also, nobody's traveling with him. This guy's flying solo.
Yes.
Like, Tahm Kench needs a buddy.
He's not your buddy, guy.
And that's where it ends. You're not going.
Okay,
yes,
well, we're done there? Okay. I wasn't sure. I was trying to feel it out.
That's not a good joke, pal.
All right. xpeke. Good damage under Steelback. Got that Eye of the Watcher. We've now got a little bit of deep vision from Vitality. We're approaching 30 minutes, and you know, for the sort of 15 to 25 minute phase, neither team could get into the opponent's jungle.
No.
Now, for the first time, there's some wards from Vitality, which may have been why they started that fight earlier. But it didn't get kills, it didn't get another objective, and unfortunately, it's just another slower pace mid-game.
Yeah, and it's really hard to build on that because it requires you to base very often. So basically, you want to like empty your side stone, base as a support, hope that your team survives 45, and then you can actually trade it to another side, or you can supplement that vision with kind of better placed wards. You know, they'll kill or sweep a couple of them, and now we'll maybe have a gander at what Vitality's objective is. Like, do they want deep vision to protect Cabochard so we can split push bot, or are they going for NaeHyun here? And more importantly, are they doing it safely?
Well, can you add on to that? What else do Vitality want to do with their team comp? I think you explained very clearly how Origen want to siege. Vitality, you mentioned 1-3-1 during picks and bans.
They want to make picks. Like, they're a pick comp essentially, right? Like, they've been trying with Hachani
flying with the Abyssal Voyage, but Cinkroff and xpeke have been kind of turtling up. They're moving together all the time, so nobody really gets picked off. They could make the kind of bold move out to attack Satorius in the bottom lane, but then they expose this Baron Asher to a very big amount of damage on the side of Origen.
Krepo, let's not pull the top laners into this.
No.
Teleport plays have been non-existent.
These guys have only teleported to their wave.
And Satorius and Cabo, they're having a good time. You know, they've had a little bit of time to chat, get to know one another, trade blows a little bit. This is a good sparring partnership.
Yeah, Satorius, he's averaging over 10 CS per minute as a top laner. He must be a happy camper.
He is. He's been camping in the bottom lane for 12 minutes long.
Has to be the most boring camping vacation. All kids go to Disneyland. Satorius gets bottom lane, laning versus Gragas. It's bad, man.
It does. It does. And Cabo, he's got the Guardian Angel, man. So now if there were going to be a TP play... Actually, looking at that,
there's one more. They're pinging it. They're thinking about it. Djoko
easily escapes.
Look at Cabo. He has his finger on the trigger. He knows. Ah, there it is. There's a teleport.
Oh, I take a look. Nukeduck decides to flash engage. Redemption's going to come down, catching only Cinkroff.
Yeah, but Cabochard is caught off by Satorius because he wants to go in with wham, bam, slam, thank you, man, but he gets peeled off.
He does indeed. There's no damage onto Cabo, though. Satorius has found his sparring partner.
And absolutely nothing is happening because these are the lower tier teams in the LCS, and we get 10 more minutes of waiting.
But, Baron is the focus, Krepo.
Yeah.
Origen more than doubled their total Barons last week from the previous 6 weeks.
Oh, what an improvement.
That is exponential growth by the definition of it. And you can see it was around Baron that the siege started.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see if it keeps going in any direction, so they can triple their Barons this game.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. We were looking for some records last week. We had a crowd in Berlin that was very excited about those record-breaking moments. Can Origen improve upon themselves?
I think yes.
I hope so.
I'm forever the optimist. You know that.
I do. You know.
Glass half full, glass half
Always.
empty doesn't apply really. It's always awful.
Just happy you got a glass.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. But we've talked about the vision a lot, and we've talked about the team compositions a lot. Let's look at Cinkroff. 160 CS on this Graves. He's been farming up a Storm. Origen as a team have not necessarily made very big plays as xpeke gets caught out. Here's Cinkroff protecting him once again. Decent Mega Inferno Bomb. That's some damage, but no follow-up.
Oh, Satorius teleported.
Satorius did teleport. I forgot he was in the game. Now Nukeduck's in trouble. Sanguine Pool with the Ignite burning down. Redemption comes out. That's a great knockup. Satorius gets Nukeduck. Cabo forced to dash away, and Origen, they get a pick.
Yeah, Peke lures them in. He totally was not alone right there. It was all an elaborate ruse. And then the teleport advantage for Satorius kicks in. Didn't even get to the tier 1 tower.
No.
So if I can he get something off the back of this play though.
Well, that's what we're hoping for. Djoko's actually going to bounce backwards, takes a hammer to the face. Satorius looking to re-engage. Where is the dredge line? Not going to find Djoko. And there we go. Everything thrown at the kitchen sink. They get themselves a kill and get out.
I'm gonna be honest here, I'm actually not forever the optimist. I think it would have been wiser for Satorius to pressure the tier 1 tower, because he just opted in to create a 5v5 circumstance where Vitality had no teleport. So he basically gave Vitality what they wanted, which was a 5v5 contest. They already found xpeke. There was kind of a mutual disengage. Every team kind of got out scot-free. So this could have technically been a tier 1 tower opened up by Satorius in the bot lane, then pressuring the lane up, pushing up, forcing Cabochard to eventually come catch, and then pull the trigger with teleport, creating a 5v4. I think that was the ideal scenario that Origen could have been looking for.
Yeah, they're not 4 steps ahead,
no.
Unfortunately. Cabochard picked up a lot of CSS game, 165. And
yeah, so he went over 10 CS per minute in that like 50-minute window, which really means he's been playing side lane the entirety of the game. And their win condition really is him flanking or Hachani bringing in Djoko, and none of that has been happening for Vitality. You could see the impact Nukeduck has in fights though. Whenever he flashes in and ultis, he's essentially threatening the backline all by himself. All he needs is his team to kind of supplement that with some aggressive play. And
on the bright side, Peke does have that exhaust into some of that Vladimir burst. Let's see if he can... Let's see if Origen can kill Nukeduck in the time frame of that exhaust, because it is extremely pivotal, and Cabo's setting himself up for a flank.
Yeah, Cabo wants to aggress onto Origen right here.
Oh, looking for a slog, but Origen are going to soak up the pressure, and all of this aggression from Vitality has not been channeled anywhere.
No, definitely not. Need to see if Djoko's going to charge in here. If you lunge at NaeHyun, maybe get a little kickoff.
Krepo, Vitality are looking to take the offensive on that last outer turret, but their assault has failed.
Yeah.
And they have to back away. They say, have at you, Origen. And Origen, NaeHyun. Here's the waves. Gets
it's actually NaeHyun, I think.
NaeHyun?
Yeah.
That's tough for me.
That's really tough.
That is tough for me. You have some Korean experience, you know, having been there significantly more time than I have.
Yeah. And look at Peke. Wanting to spend some time with Djoko, but Hachani doesn't allow it. Very jealous frog.
Catfish.
Oh.
Yeah, I get yelled at all the time for that one. It's a catfish, not a frog.
The Kench, Nukeduck's in
trouble
right now.
A few people nodding in the audience. Well, Hachani is going to save Nukeduck's life for now. Where's the rest of the engage? Satorius, no flash.
Yeah, he's grouped up right here. He doesn't have teleport, so this is on the back end of the play earlier. What happened as well is they essentially gave over teleport advantage to Vitality. Vitality is playing it right. They're playing defensive on the 4, and they're playing aggressive on the 1. So right now, Cabochard is pulling Satorius back. Luckily for Origen, by the time Satorius has to match this bottom lane, he will have teleport up. And there's no deep vision.
Yeah, but I need to see these teams use it more.
Yeah, the problem is they need to... Ideally, to get deep vision, you need to group as 5, because you can't beat 4v5, right?
Okay.
Or 4v4 in this instance, because you can't face check a Ziggs. Ironically, I think the way to beat it is actually invade the red jungle first if you're Hachani, ward that up, use that vision to maybe spot people, and then once the red is kind of... Origen's playing more towards the red side, then you can use that knowledge to invade blue side. They're constantly knocking on this door here at the jungle.
Yeah, Djoko got caught out by a Mega Inferno Bomb earlier, but Hachani is the target, gets knocked backwards by the satchel charge. Redemption saves Hachani's life. He no longer dies to face checks. Cabochard's also teleported in. All of the potential plays for Vitality are shrinking without that TP.
Yeah, teleport out of the window, and more importantly, Origen did not panic call Satorius to teleport up. He walked over. So now they just need to push out that bottom lane, put pressure there, force Cabochard to catch. Because they can actually just fake a 4-man Baron siege, have Satorius on the bottom lane, and then yell surprise. There's actually an extra member with Satorius in the bottom lane, and then they can siege turrets.
How do you set those calls up, Krepo? Like, Origen now with an advantage, they've got this window where Cabo doesn't have a TP, so who's talking, who's making the calls around them?
So you're in base and you basically, guys, what is our next objective? Is it Nashor or is it tier 2 bot lane? What do we want to do, right? And then xpeke, the guy with the vision, is like, okay, for this play to work, I want to place vision here, here, and here. I need help. Either it is place the vision a little lower, base, get more wards, or you just kind of take a gut check and you move in as deep as you can with the vision. That's what's happening right now. They're pushing their side lanes.
Gentle golf clap.
I thought you were slapping your face. So I looked at my left and I'm like, why is he hitting his face? Because you were clapping awfully close to it.
36 minutes in, Satorius finally opens up the map. Let's look at the rest of the team. Expecting no support for vision.
But he's peeling off. Satorius is walking to the Nashor. Not so sure about that one, buddy. Obviously, he has to be careful that he doesn't get Tahm Kench ulti, but even if he does, I think Origen can just brute force Nashor. So he's looking for a flank with teleport advantage.
Yeah, but both teams have tried to brute force plays previously. I'm going to use this moment really quickly, looking at NaeHyun's build. No Edge of Night. It was nerfed on this patch. 7.5 for anybody that might just be tuning in. And Satorius, he's not going to get Tahm Kench ultied because Hachani's used it.
Yeah.
Abyssal Voyage is on cooldown.
They'll be up pretty soon. Satorius just needs to push right now. Now Vitality are looking to pull the trigger.
All right, QSS used by Djoko. Here comes Nukeduck. Exhaust is going to block some of that damage. Hemo Plague's going to pop, and it looks like NaeHyun survives.
Oh, he cancelled.
Very big heal from Nukeduck's ulti and redemption.
Yeah, Vitality can push through right now because they saw the teleport from Satorius, but he ended up cancelling it himself. So Cabochard going on the aggressive.
All right, not going to find a target to aggress onto. Trying to wallop him and whop him in the face, and Steelback and Nukeduck, they take down the outer turret in the mid lane. That is the third of the game for Vitality.
Yeah. Bit of a slip up here. They're not on the same page. It feels like their calls are really delayed right there.
And is this Vitality you're talking about?
Yeah.
We'll expand in a moment to Satorius. Trying to get out to safety. He's sidestepped a number of skill shots already. Bought enough time to get to NaeHyun and Tabzz.
Satorius did not even lose health right there. No, but it was definitely Origen who were not on the same page. They had teleport advantage in the bottom lane. We saw their top laner peel off and walk to mid lane for a flank. In doing so, he allowed Cabochard to group for free at no cost with Vitality. Then he tried to teleport in
when Vitality obviously were going for the hard engage, trying to get the teleport out of him, and he cancelled.
Oh, look at this. Origen, they've got a minion wave.
Yeah.
They've got a number of champions grouped up. That's all 5 Origen members on the top inner turret. Peke's even zoning away Djoko, and Origen knock over their 5th tower.
Yeah.
They've got a gold lead at 38 minutes and control of the top quadrant.
They group, but their Peke's side stone is empty, so I really can't get like obvious vision advantage right here. A lot of these wards are running out for Vitality. I don't know if Peke has done the math there, if he figured that one out. They're basing right now for more vision, but they couldn't really take full control and really capitalize on that play in the top side. You know, there's like one ward right there. And Cabochard, he's already pushing bot lane right there. He will have about a minute and a half teleport advantage, and that's when we need to see that play again. Can Vitality now get deep vision somewhere, get a good TP find for Vitality while Satorius is locked in the bottom lane? And Origen is combating exactly that by just brute forcing right now. They want to group and make a play to force Cabochard to join ASAP.
Or, Krepo, or will both of these teams commit to dancing in the Baron pit?
Or yeah,
and
we
just have a big 5v5.
Yeah, they want to Fiesta it up. They're slow pushing bot lane though. So the wave bottom lane is stacking. That is the timer that you're looking at. Cabochard wants to join with his team and have the 6th man play in the bottom lane. That is that wave. There may be just a Ziggs ultimate going that way. That is...
or Satorius himself.
Yeah, an emergency clear. Satorius still has cooldown though on teleport.
Not going to be able to teleport immediately. If a 5v5 were to break out in and around the pit, which team comp do you prefer?
I mean, it depends. It actually, you would say immediately Jayce Ziggs, but if you're clumped in the pit and you're playing versus Vladimir, you may just alt F4 out of the game as well.
Basically, neither comp wants to get caught in the pit.
Yeah, nobody wants to get caught against each other here. I think it's even more destructive if Vitality get the engage.
Vitality didn't do their due diligence.
Yeah, of course, because the jungler has a ward. Like he's a sweeper.
There is a ward in that river bush. Hachani not used his sweeper just yet.
I mean, if you're Vitality and you're going to commit, and your call is, guys, we slow push bot, we're going to commit to Baron play, either you bring 2 sweepers or you bring like a million control wards. Hachani can't solve this vision on his own. This is on Nukeduck and Djoko. Between them, one of these guys should have a sweeper, and they should start selling like lower tier items and actually get control wards in their inventory. Because this game is obviously not won by items, because these guys aren't even fighting. It's won by vision.
Vision has defined every single play of the last 40 minutes, and there is a ward in the back red side of the jungle for Vitality. Satorius with his teleport up and GA could look to go in behind, but that is just timed out.
Bissell Voyage is in, so they found Tabzz. Djoko follows up, Tabzz flashes.
Well, Tabzz is alive for now. Hachani's going to at least gobble up Djoko. Here comes Nukeduck from behind. Exhaust is available, as is the Nether Grasp. Not going to get used yet. Peke, he's running away from Djoko. He's summoned an army of crabs to fight. It's split on 2 sides. NaeHyun and Tabzz are down. Vitality have found a way into Origen's line. They've knocked Origen for a loop, and they're laying siege into the jungle of Origen. Cinkroff is low. xpeke is running for his life. Djoko's got enough time to finish blue buff, and Cinkroff not gonna die yet, not gonna find a kill. This is a delayed ace, it feels like. Hachani devours up Peke. Double kill for Cabo. Satorius is down, and Vitality aggressed all onto Origen.
And finally, the Abyssal Voyage pays off. Hachani delivers Djoko right next to Tabzz. He can't get all his damage out. He can't really utilize that poke from Ziggs. And in the back end of the fight, Nukeduck just flies. He actually used a really interesting combo, channeling E into pool, popping it, and everybody feels safe as long as Vladimir has an ulti. He actually used the ulti to finish off Tabzz. And in all of that, Steelback never got touched in that fight. Like, just watch it again. So Abyssal Voyage completely surprised Tabzz here. And again, this is the bomb from Tabzz. Like, stop doing that. It doesn't work. If you just bomb this, like, imagine if you have a peel bomb right here in this clutch. You can do so much more for your team. Tabzz ends up dropping here. Steelback, he got hit early, but he's not really doing anything else in this fight other than just doing a kind of supplemental damage. He puts the 4th crit in the face of NaeHyun, and at that point, Cabochard is doing more work as kind of a peeler. This ulti also goes right for Cinkroff because there's good devour from Hachani, and this is just very well played on all fronts from Vitality.
Took Vitality a couple of swings and misses, but they eventually found the fight.
Yeah, they were trying.
Yeah, exactly. Nicely done then by Vitality. So they got themselves the ace. They also secured Baron, I believe, on the entire team. So that's definitely going to be impactful, and already Vitality have started to siege up. Look at the damage in that last fight.
Yeah, Tabzz just couldn't do anything because he got cut out. He obviously doesn't have a Devour available to him. It is still super hard for Vitality to siege because they're playing into a pole comp, and one of the attributes is that they have disgusting amounts of wave clear.
Ton of wave clear.
It is Freak's birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Freak. Has anyone got a Trinity Force? Not this game. Hopefully we'll get one soon.
There's still tons of work there.
Inner turret is down. If you cast your mind back last week, Fnatic managed to turn a game around because they had a tank on the front line and they had wave clear in the base.
Yeah, they're cheating though. They had Varus and Victor. That doesn't count.
Well, Jayce and Ziggs, how much different is it?
It doesn't count. You can at least block these skill shots. You can body block and they don't fly through and hit an entire wave.
Okay, and Hachani can body block. We know he can do that.
Yeah.
Plus you've got Cabochard on this Gragas 202.
They can actually rotate very well. They don't have to play 1-3-1 to the extreme because they can always just deliver people with the Abyssal Voyage, especially once you get close to the base. It reaches in any direction, you know, very far.
And Hachani's got a GA as well, so definitely wants to deliver somebody from Vitality to the back line. Took a few attempts, but they've got the Baron.
And it's super hard to collapse on Nukeduck here for Origen. This is the last ever, but I don't think it's actually going to work.
All right, Cabochard's going to start to teleport in, and Cinkroff, NaeHyun, Satorius back away.
I can respect it. This is safety above all. I think Nukeduck could have actually fought his way out or stalled so long that Origen, after the fight, would have looked at their base and like, what happened?
And there we go. Abyssal Voyage delivers Steelback to the bottom lane. Origen already going to say, where's our base, what's happening?
Yeah, it's early though, because they relent the push in the mid lane. Nobody's keeping those minions buffed. Essentially, you really want to play on 3 lanes here and then keep the Abyssal Voyage until you kind of hit turrets. This is the easier version though, playing the 4-1. Why are you doing Krugs, Trevor?
I don't have an answer for you, Krepo.
Why are you doing Krugs?
You'll take every advantage you can.
Oh, just Siege, you have like 3 seconds on your Baron buff. You can ride in that wave in the mid lane.
I like that you mentioned the slightly simpler version, the 4-1.
Yeah.
Vitality didn't work with 1-3-1 last week. Again, 4-1 is set up. Cabo's in the bottom lane.
Yeah, but they still haven't broken the base though. They need to pull the trigger right here.
Whoa, look at that damage onto Cinkroff. Steelback just drops it down. Mega Inferno Bomb will drop him low. Nether Grasp onto Hachani alone. And Nukeduck, he's flashed forward. Sanguine pull underneath the tower. Goes golden with the hourglass. That buys enough time for the tower to go down. Hachani devours Nukeduck, gets him to safety. Now Nukeduck's looking to re-engage after taking down the inhibitor. Satorius and the rest of Origen are running away. Cabo's caught. Still got GA available. He doesn't care if he goes down. Vitality get what they want and they start to get out.
Yeah, but they're looking to be chased down. Origen looking for more, but they can't turn. They're obviously 5v4.
Oh, look at that body slam forward. NaeHyun's caught out. Vitality, they may want the final push.
Yeah, they want the final push here because Origen did not talk about how they wanted to play that fight. Now Cinkroff gets rooted. He's down because Nukeduck's on the hunt.
There's simply so much damage from Nukeduck. The GA gets popped by Cabochard. He'll respawn. Satorius is doing what he can against the minion wave, but the Nexus turrets are being dropped. Hachani is onto the objectives. Peke wants to get at least one more kill here, but he's in a 1-on-5. Vitality will take down Origen after killing xpeke to take the lead in the series 1-0.
Yeah, Peke could not hold the reverse backdoor. 1v4. And I think the main gripe there, and this was a really good fight from Vitality, is that I don't think Origen is talking to each other. Guys, how do we want to play this fight? What are we looking for? Because if you look at their comp, it's very simple, right? Nether Grasp, and then you just bomb the hell out of the guy that you hit. Peke can immobilize and suppress a target. You have all your target damage and you take the guy down. Instead, Tabzz is throwing his bomb to Steelback every single fight. Steelback goes half HP and then tells them, hey guys, I actually have 3,000 range.
Yes.
I don't care. Like, throw your bomb at me every single fight. Imagine if you have Peke get his hoist of voidlings out, target a single guy, hopefully Nukeduck, who then actually, you know, maybe he gets eaten, but then at least he's out of the fight. Or you get to Tahm Kench first, and then you drop him, so he can't keep devouring people at the later stages of this fight. Bothers me.
And the problem is it happened over and over again, right?
Yeah.
There was like 6 or 7 fights where the exact same sequence of events happened until Vitality found a good flank. That was what broke it open. That was where Vitality could survive their engage and actually make something work.
Yeah, I think the synergy between Djoko and Hachani grew over the series. And don't get me wrong, that bomb from Tabzz is fine as long as you have any other threat in the backline. If you have anybody flanking, but when you're playing kind of like 5-man defense and you're just sending in your front line one by one, it's not the right play pattern.
No, tower defense does not get you wins, unfortunately. Let's take a look at the analyst desk to find out how exactly Vitality won.
Thank you very much, guys. We're going to start by taking a look at picks and bans and then jump on what you guys were talking about, because we have a big discussion on Ziggs coming up, which was, of course, the AD carry from Tabzz. What else in this pick and ban did you like from the side of each team?
So I love this draft from Origen because it reminded me very much of their win against Giants from last week. They drafted a composition which is very much like, let's just get through laning phase. We have plenty of stalling tactics. We have loads of time to transition into the mid game. And then our win condition is very simple. We siege onto towers and they have very few answers to it. The only way they can fight is by just forcing an engage. And that's why I think when you look at the draft coming out from Vitality, things were a little bit questionable. Yeah, they have the Gragas, they have the Tahm Kench, but there's so many disengage tools and there are so many means to stall from Origen. I was worried that I didn't think Vitality could actually engage any of those fights.
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on map control and Vitality, their draft. I mean, we released a player spotlight earlier with Djoko and Cabochard, who very openly said, oh, well, we think Vitality, it works well when Djoko's on the engage and the tank and Cabochard's on the carry. They decided to swap it up on that. And for a multitude of reasons, Vitality couldn't find engages throughout the game. So it's them knowing their strength as individual players, but going against that for the team composition they were looking for and the way the drafts played out.
I'm not to say that the team itself is wrong, but we do know that Djoko is a big enabler for them early. So Lee Sin in that regard isn't that bad of a pick, and if he can put pressure on the map. So I do want to put the attention on Cinkroff, the new player coming in for OG, and especially early, to me, to the untrained eye at least, it seemed like they had a good of a communication going. He wasn't afraid to get in there and steal those Raptors. He wasn't afraid to make some moves on the map, and OG, when getting a kill early, also rotated. They got a tower or two, and that looked promising. Yeah,
I mean, there were a lot of promising signs from Origen early on. I think that a couple of individual mistakes, the fact that Tabzz was struggling in a lane when he should have had a lot of pushing power, Peke dying early on, the way in which they grouped up and forced these towers, the way in which they found picks in the early game was very good to see from Origen. But when we look at Cinkroff as an individual, I feel like that so far from what we've seen, there's not really a dramatic change in the playstyle of Origen. They're still the same sort of Origen that we've seen before. They're not losing because their jungler's not getting caught out of position, which is definitely an improvement from what we've seen in the past. But I'm still not seeing an Origen where their communication seems to be on point. They still don't seem to be on the same page.
Is that what you expect after just a couple of days of practice?
No, but I think that I think that is fair in the sense that, right, sure, if you just plug in a jungler, all of their issues aren't suddenly going to disappear, right? But I would expect that if you're going to bring a jungler like Cinkroff in, that there would be some kind of shift in the team, whether it be that they change their playstyle up or whether or not they have a better direction coming into the game. And that, to me, didn't feel like what we saw. We're still seeing exactly the same Origen that we saw last week.
I think we can agree to disagree, because I do think that early they showed a bit of promise, but then the problem is always you have to close a game like this out. And this is where you guys had kind of a big discussion about the usage of Ziggs from the side of Origen. So walk me through that.
Should I explain some of my points? Okay, so this is one of the replays that was an early kill. I think we both agree, like, the usage here from Tabzz is good to get that kill, and this isn't the issue that we're talking about. However, later on in the game, it's fights like this around mid tower where Origen end up sacrificing mid tower. I think one of the sheer strengths of Ziggs is that he sits mid, he wave clears, and you make plays on other lanes with the rest of your team composition. Now, it is kind of difficult for Origen. The Nautilus maybe can abuse TP advantage, like Krepo was talking about, but that mid tower being up denies so much playmaking ability from Vitality, despite having Tahm Kench, despite having TP. Unless they get a good Gragas ultimate onto Tabzz, Tabzz neutralizes any pushing play at the end of this. You just sit mid, wave clear, and deny any engage potential, ward heavily around mid, and yes, it stalls games out. It's not exciting League of Legends, but that's how Origen can drag these games to a point where one fight where they have TP advantage wins the game.
But I think that's the wrong way to play against this comp, because Vitality's win condition is we force a fight so that you cannot stall and drag things out with Ziggs. An opportunity like this is exactly what they're looking for. It was a bit of a mispositioning from Tabzz being that extended in the lane, but also a really good move from Vitality to force a fight onto a great opportunity. They had Nukeduck coming in from the flank. The fact that Tabzz was forced to flash over the wall into the warm embrace of Nukeduck is exactly the kind of setup that they want. And with two of the big damage dealers taken off from Origen, then it becomes a very easy cleanup ace. But what I wanted to see Origen doing with this Ziggs is using him to take down towers. I think that it would have been better for them to because they constantly had pushing lanes, they had constant control around the Baron. I think that the better idea to have is you actually send him off to a side lane, and then you use him, you with the good vision control that they had over the top side of Vitality's jungle, you then make that map movement up, and then you take a tier 2 in the top lane. We saw in the mid lane, they get 1 kill, instant, tower gone. And I think they could have done that with the great vision control that Origen had.
The problem is you just, like in that replay, it's all because Ziggs is a fairly vulnerable carry. So like a Tahm Kench coming in behind with a Lee Sin or a Gragas, instantly punishes you moving out of lane with Ziggs. Like we've seen teams in the LPL playing Ziggs for weeks and weeks and weeks now, and they just put him mid. Yes, it takes the game to like 40, 50 minutes on, but it's all about just maintaining a defensive line, and it's difficult to increase advantages, but I think it's such a safer playstyle if you can never get engaged on.
Definitely. I think it was all Vladimir in the end for Vitality.
It was definitely Vladimir. Vladimir definitely won that
Glad
game.
we agree. We're going to recall, but after the break, we will be back in lane for game 2 between Origen and Vitality. Don't go anywhere.
Where is my money? Where is Cabo's money? In the money.
Quite literally, actually. NaeHyun's going to find Djoko, though. An easy kill. Picks up double buffs. He finds Tabzz and xpeke. Pops the grey health. Survives for a few more seconds, and the shield keeps him up. That is growth. Nobody tries to kill Hachani for the 45th time.
Okay. Vladimir. No flash Vladimir. We need to go Vladimir.
Cabo saves at the hero plate. Might just be enough to take Peke down. He's going to get the nether cost. Before being killed in Nukeduck, he's got himself a double. Not done yet. The tides have flooded to Satorius, and that's the retreat call. Djoko's got enough time to finish blue buff, and Cinkroff not going to die yet, not going to find a kill. This is a delayed ace, it feels like. Double kill for Cabo. Satorius is down, and Vitality and Crest all onto Origen. But he's in a 1-on-5. Vitality will take down Origen after killing xpeke to take the lead in the series 1-0.